What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some one-on-ones from Travis Hunter at Colorado's spring ball practice. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a quarterback or a wide receiver and would like to train with us this offseason, we are coming out to 7 more states across the U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. Next up on our camp tour, we'll be coming out to Boston, Cleveland, and Austin. All 3 of those camps are sold out, but then we'll be coming out to Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles. So if you are in one of those 4 states, we'd love to have you out. So check out that very first link in the description below, you guys. We'd love to have you at one of our quarterback and wide receiver camps. So again, very first link below. Let's get started with this video. So this first clip here is going to be a dig route where Travis Hunter is playing defense. So we are going to be showing this exact same route versus this exact same press coverage look with Travis on defense and then him running that route on offense. So this first example is going to be a bad example of this route. This is what you do not want to do, and Travis Hunter plays this thing perfectly. So let's play at full speed, and then we'll break it down. So he comes off the ball, and this wide receiver makes a cardinal sin at the wide receiver position. He forces an inside release versus inside shade press. So when I have an inside shade press coverage DB, coming up to the line as a wide receiver, every wide receiver needs to do something called a pre-snap process, and that means you want to identify 3 specific things. Number 1, you got to identify the DB's leverage. So is he going to be shaded to the inside? Is he going to be right in front of my face, or is he going to be shaded to the outside? Now, number 2, you want to identify how close or how far is he? Is he right up on the line of scrimmage in press? Is he in catch technique 2 to 3? Or maybe is he in off man or zone 7 to 8 yards off? And then last but not least, identify the type of coverage. Is it man or zone? It's pretty easy right now because it's one-on-ones, squared up stance, eyes on the hips, that it's man. So his goal being inside shade, which is why you want to identify this to figure out his goal, is to prevent the inside route. So he does not want to let us run a slant, take an inside release, run a post, run a dig. He is going to keep this leverage at all costs. So a lot of wide receivers think that, okay, I'm going to fake to the outside, try to threaten him with an outside release. Hopefully he'll jump and I'll take this inside release because it's comfortable to take an inside release on an inside breaking route. However, when a DB is disciplined and when a DB can get hands on us, he is going to squeeze us to the inside of the field, which honestly, fellas, when you have other routes on the field, like let's say, for example, the concept is like a dig from the outside, and then let's say it's a dig from the slot, like a double dig, and your stem gets cut all the way to the inside. Even if you break off on this route, you see how close you would be to the slot wide receiver running a dig. That means that a safety, a linebacker, could sit right in between the two of you and be able to play both routes. That is a tough read for the quarterback, and the spacing is going to be off for the quarterback. And that is simply because we forced the release. What this wide receiver should have done is he should have maybe tried to attack him. Let's threaten the DB with where he doesn't want us to go. And Hunter does a great job staying disciplined to his leverage, getting hands, disrupting the timing, because that is the whole purpose of press coverage. When a wide receiver tries to get hands on, or a DB tries to get hands on the wide receiver, his job is to disrupt timing. So if we force it, he's going to get hands and he's going to disrupt the timing. And not only that, the spacing. As a wide receiver, my press release, I should be concerned with moving this DB to get a free release so I could stay on time with the quarterback and give him space and give him a throwing window to make something happen. So let's play this full speed. So again, fellas, just make sure that we do not force the release. Just because it's an inside breaking route does not mean that we have to take an inside release. So let's look at this example here. Travis Hunter's on offense, and he's going to be running the same thing versus the same type of coverage look. So we have inside shade, press coverage. We know that that's his responsibilities to prevent the inside route. And you see how Hunter's lined up very wide past the bottom of the numbers. So this DB would be a fool to be lined up head up press or outside shade. So he's inside shade because he's expecting the inside route because of Hunter's alignment. So if he tries to force it, he's going to get rerouted, going to get forced inside, and not going to have space. So let's play this full speed. What does he decide to do? He attacks the DB's leverage. He moves him, a little tempo change, and you see the amount of space that he is giving his quarterback. That is a realistic route, fellas. You need to run game realistic routes, especially when it is a one-on-one situation. So again, the best way, everybody talks about, oh, we're trying to move the DB off his platform. Like, what does that even mean, right? His platform is where he is standing right now. That's his leverage. We're You're trying to get him to move and keep his leverage to the inside. So the best way to get him to do that, and the reason why is so we can get a free outside release, the best way to do that is attack his leverage. Let's close the space with him. Let's make it look like I am doing an inside release, hips and shoulders. We sell it. All we need is this DB to just keep that leverage and give me the free outside release. Now, could this DB have gotten hands on Hunter here? Absolutely. Why come down and play press coverage if you're not going to get hands on him? That's at least how I view this thing. But you see, Hunter's able to take an outside release and he stays exactly where he started on the route, which if this were a double dig concept, let's say, for example, again, we have a dig from the outside and then we have the slot running a dig. The spacing is there. This is exactly how we drew it up on paper because the quarterback is trying to get a read. Let's say, free safety is who we're reading in this case. And maybe he drives on the dig and then we throw the second dig in this window because we have the space to do it. We get this really wide inside stem, we're not going to have spacing. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, that last example, he wasn't super far over the middle of the field. Well, yeah, it's one-on-ones. There's nobody over the middle of the field. In a real game, spacing and timing matters. So you see how Hunter, he works and he gives this little tempo change so he could accelerate, get over the top, and stack this DB. Now, what if this DB would have played it well and this DB was literally right on the hip of Hunter? What could he have done? He could have taken his left arm and swatted this DB by, put it on this DB's left shoulder, his left hip, slip underneath, and again, we still have the same type of spacing. Because again, that quarterback, if he throws this thing on time, he could put this ball right here, maybe 2 yards past the top of the numbers, and that would be a completion. He holds it a little bit longer, but that's giving the quarterback space to lead us, to get a read. The spacing of the play is there. And that is the difference, fellas. That's what they look for. Because at the end of the day, let's say you're at a camp setting. Let's say you're at, like a Rivals combine or, some call. I think those are total scams. But let's say you're at a college camp, for example, in front of college coaches. And, maybe you're not the biggest wide receiver. Maybe you're not the fastest wide receiver. How you can stand out is by running routes, but running game realistic routes. Nobody wants to see you run a dig against inside shade press and force it and catch the ball on the opposite hash. Oh, cool, you caught the ball. But that's never going to work in a game. You're going to either get laid out by a linebacker dropping into coverage maybe, or the play's over because the quarterback sacked because it took too long. You got to keep spacing, but make sure we keep it realistic. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Hunter attacking leverage, changing tempo, and then winning on that dig. Okay, so next example here is going to be Travis Hunter running a fade route. So this is not the greatest example of a fade route versus off coverage. So this DB is an off coverage, inside shade. And again, we got to have that good pre-snap process as a wide receiver. So I come up to the line. I see that the DB's inside leverage again, right? Because he's lined up middle of the numbers. We're lined up at the bottom of the numbers. So we know that he is trying to prevent what? Inside route. He's trying to prevent the post. He's trying to prevent the dig, and inside, maybe a split route, however you want to think of it. And now it's still man coverage. His eyes are on me, squared up stance. He's just about what? 8 to 9 yards off. So if I got to run a fade route, what so many wide receivers who have the talent like Travis Hunter does and are fast like him, great athletes, they try to simply outrun DBs. And DBs at that next level, this Power 5 college football level, are very, very talented and very, very fast. You see it every single year in the NFL Combine, the 40 times that these guys put up because they're insanely fast. So let's watch what happens here. So Hunter comes off the ball. He attacks a little bit inside, but he doesn't close enough space. And this DB is able to squeeze to the sideline. There's not a whole lot of separation. Again, good ball. Hunter still had a chance to win on this thing. But as a wide receiver, we never want to be in this position. We want to try to always stay on this red line when I'm running a fade because that's enough room, like we talked about. Spacing matters. That's enough room for the quarterback to fade me, to put it over my shoulder. So we got to try to stay on this red line. That's why you see a red line on a lot of professional practice fields and also a lot of college practice fields. So what could he have done a little bit better here? So again, this is why we need to have that pre-snap process. We see a DB who's lined up inside leverage. We know that he's trying to stop a post or a dig. So if I can threaten him and make him think I'm running a post or a dig, what do you think he's probably going to do? He's going to keep his leverage. Because let me tell you this, wherever the DB's leverage is, he does not have help there. right? So when he's inside leverage, that means that he does not have help to the inside. That means that there is no safety there. There is no linebacker dropping. He's essentially on an island, right? If you will. Like, he's not in press, so I wouldn't call it an island, but essentially that's what it is. So he's trying to force us to the sideline, which is his help. So he's giving us all this room, quote unquote, out here, but not really room. He wants us to try to just take it and run around him so he could get hands on me and squeeze me. So Hunter, to make this a little bit easier of a route on him, could have kept closing the space. You see how he kind of closes it for maybe about 5 yards, then he tries to run around. If he could close the space for maybe about 10, 12 yards, really angle his stem at the midline or inside shoulder and inside hip of this DB, he will keep his leverage, fellas. I promise you that. Because if you guys run that inside stem and he backs up and that gives away the post and he gets beat on a post inside leverage, he's going to get chewed. He's going to get ripped by his DB coach. And that'll never happen again because his job is to keep that leverage. So we just have to make sure that we keep closing space. We should never try to run around DBs when they're inside shade, especially when they're off, because all that's going to make them do is squeeze me to that sideline. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Easy fix right there. I know a lot of wide receivers see this happen, or not necessarily see this happen, but experience this, right? So just make sure, fellas, we know when to attack leverage, especially in an off-man setting. So this next clip we're going to be showing here is more so a clip from team, but this is a one-on-one example, and this is Travis Hunter going up for a jump ball fade. So a jump ball fade is something that I think a lot of wide receivers should try to add to their tool belt. Now, reason why is because if I'm, a college coach looking at a player, I'm going to play this full speed. So if I'm a college coach and I'm looking at a player, I'm trying to scout a player, I'm looking for a couple of things. And this is from every single college coach that, I've ever spoken to, ever communicated with. What they will say is that they're looking for explosive playmakers, right? So explosive playmakers are guys who can take the ball. And we all know Travis Hunter's got crazy speed. We all know he can run great routes, make explosive cuts. That's all great. That's all good. But there are a lot of good athletes out there across the country. When you think about how many high schools there are across the country and how many divisions there are, right? 6A, 5A, 4A. Then you get like California where they got 13 divisions, right? And now think about how many receivers are on the field at a given time. 3 to 4, 2 to 4, guaranteed, right? That's a lot of people. And a lot of those guys are great athletes. They're very big. They're very fast. But what's the difference between a guy like Travis Hunter who gets all this exposure, all this stuff, and it's what they can do on film when the pads are on? And again, it's explosive playmakers. So by explosive plays, I mean guys who can take a slant route 80 yards to the house. I mean a guy who could catch a jump ball back corner of the end zone. Those are the guys that college coaches are looking for because those are actual highlights. Everybody talks about a highlight tape, but not every wide receiver can make a highlight tape. Wide receivers will put plays in there just because it's a touchdown does not mean that it's a highlight. Like if the DB fell down and it wasn't because of your route or it was like a pick play and you're wide open by 10, 15 yards and you catch the ball and just walk into the end zone, guys, that's not a highlight. Any wide receiver could do that damn near just about, right? They're looking for guys who can do this, the plays that they don't expect to make. So is there any type of technique? Is there a way to work on this jump ball type of catch? Now, there are a couple things you could do. Number one, when you're in this situation, you have to go up for the ball. You need to have the mindset of, I'm going up strong. I'm going to go secure this ball. And I guarantee you right now, when Hunter goes up to grab this thing, he is going up strong. So how do you work on that? Work on your grip strength. Work on different catching drills. Strengthen your hands. All of those things can help you with this type of situation where a DB's pulling at your arm, trying to make a play on the way down. That grip strength is what helps you secure that pass on the way down. So, doing exercises like fingertip push-ups, farmer's carry. If you guys want some more grip strengthening exercises, just post that in the comments below. I'll send you some free ones that we have from this YouTube channel that'll really help you out. But again, grip strengthening exercises, fellas, will help you with these types of catches, diving catches, catches in traffic, which ultimately makes you stand out on film, stand out to a college coach, etc. So we're looking for explosive playmakers, fellas, and that's why he's got so much hype around him and he could pretty much have gone to any school that he wanted to go to. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great example of how you can win a jump ball by going up strong, and that's what you need to do to work on that pass. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like to come out and train with us in 7 more states this offseason, our next 3 camps are completely sold out, but we will be coming out to Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles. Very first link in that description below if you would like to get some work in with us. I'll see you guys next time.